You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete and they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better. They got to be better.
Kind of how we started. Going back to kind of how we started the.
During a recent post-game press conference, Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White delivered sharp criticism of game officials after a physical altercation erupted during their matchup. The incident has reignited discussions about officiating standards across the league. When questioned about a technical foul issued to one of her players, White expressed frustration with the lack of explanation provided by referees. She emphasized that warning signs of escalating tensions were evident throughout the contest, yet officials failed to intervene appropriately.
Has been in, like, talking about it, obviously. She's been in press conferences, and Caitlin's asked about the refs, and she refused to let Caitlin answer the question, which is perfect. Last year, Christy Sides left Caitlin answer every refereeing question, and that's not what she should be doing. That is what, that's the job of a coach. That is the job of a coach.
What's going on with the chip? Is there an explanation where you...
The brewing situation was quite apparent, White stated. When referees lose command of the game and permit such behavior to continue, which has been occurring throughout this entire season, these confrontations become inevitable. This pattern extends beyond tonight's game and has persisted all season long. White highlighted that elite female athletes competing at the highest level will naturally defend their teammates when physical play crosses acceptable boundaries. She noted that officials should anticipate such reactions from fierce competitors and take preventive measures accordingly. The coach revealed she had approached officials during the opening quarter, sensing trouble ahead. Her concerns proved justified as tensions eventually boiled over into a full confrontation.
Professor, is there anything that you guys as an organization are doing? I mean, you're speaking out at this point, but anything more that you are doing or you hope to do to engage in the league and addressing these issues with officiating that you've been very vocal with?
Yeah, I mean, I think every year when we have our league meetings in the fall and in the spring, we say the same thing over and over and over, and nothing has changed. So, you know, I'm not sure outside of continuing to submit clips, continuing to talk about.
Regarding organizational efforts to address officiating concerns, White mentioned ongoing discussions during league meetings each fall and spring. However, she expressed disappointment that repeated complaints have yielded no meaningful improvements. We consistently raise these same issues year after year, yet nothing changes, she explained. Beyond submitting video evidence and continuing these conversations, options appear limited. While officiating is undoubtedly challenging, the sport has evolved significantly. Athletes are quicker, more skilled, larger, and stronger than ever before. The game's pace has accelerated, with plays developing rapidly. Everyone continues improving except the officials. White called for consistent enforcement of actual fouls occurring on the court, rather than selective officiating that allows some infractions, while penalizing others arbitrarily.
Given for the tech that you got?
I'll take the official questions. Sure. There wasn't an explanation for the tech that she got. You know, I think it was...
She's shaking. Do you want to know what the explanation was? The referees got scared and didn't want to eject people, so they just teed up two people. They just teed up two people. They wanted just to tee up a bunch of people. That is what it is.
Pretty obvious that...
When asked whether these issues specifically target her team or represent a league-wide problem, White pointed to numerous altercations across other games, confirming this as a systemic concern affecting all teams. Regarding a flagrant foul called on her player late in the game, White defended the action as appropriate team protection, viewing it simply as a basketball play within the game's context. Player Caitlin Clark appeared visibly frustrated during the press conference, particularly when reporters shifted away from discussing the officiating issues that had dominated the session.
Like, look, their job is hard. Their job is hard. Their job is hard, right? Their job is hard. You know, the game has changed so much. Players are faster, they're better, they're bigger, they're stronger. You know, they're as good as they've ever been. They're as athletic as they've ever been. The game is fast now. Things are happening quickly. Everybody's getting better. except the officials. So we got to find a way.
The game featured numerous questionable calls and non-calls that contributed to rising tensions. One notable sequence involved excessive physical contact where a player appeared to climb onto an opponent's back, yet officials hesitated to make a clear ruling despite having a direct view of the action. The inconsistent officiating created confusion about acceptable contact levels, leaving players uncertain about boundary limits. This uncertainty contributed to the eventual escalation that resulted in the on-court confrontation. White's criticism reflects broader frustration shared by coaches throughout the league regarding officiating quality. Multiple coaches have voiced similar concerns, indicating this represents more than isolated complaints from individual teams.
This stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So
the coach emphasized the importance of protecting star players, noting that fans attend games expecting to see top talent perform. Injuries resulting from poor officiating decisions ultimately harm the league's entertainment value and competitive integrity. League officials have reportedly sought new referees through application processes, though recruitment challenges may stem from compensation levels and job demands. Regardless of financial considerations, White stressed that officials must fulfill their contracted obligations at the highest possible standard.
To remedy it. I mean, you've heard every coach talk about it, so I don't know what the answer is.
Can you specifically detail what you mean by get control of the game, just to be in your words?
Get control of the game is call the fouls that are actually happening on the floor. Right, and consistently call the fouls that are actually happening on the floor. Okay, not just if somebody swings and misses, right? Like, consistently call the fouls.
Coach, do you think it's something pertaining to your team, or do you think
The incident demonstrates how poor game management can quickly spiral into dangerous situations. Early intervention and consistent foul calling could prevent such escalations from reaching the boiling point witnessed during this contest. White's willingness to accept potential fines for speaking out demonstrates her commitment to protecting her players and advocating for improved officiating standards. Her public criticism adds pressure on league administrators to address these ongoing concerns.
Started talking to the officials in the first quarter. And we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So,
I mean, JC Sheldon and Caitlin Clark were getting into it from the first quarter. From the first quarter. And like, this is 100% accurate from Stephanie White. And this is probably like the most damning thing that has been said towards referees. The most damning thing has been said all year this is worse than the Kelsey Plum situation, what Kelsey Plum said.
The situation highlights the delicate balance officials must maintain between allowing physical play and ensuring player safety. Current inconsistencies in this balance create confusion and contribute to unnecessary confrontation. As the season progresses, the effectiveness of addressing these officiating concerns will likely influence both player safety and overall game quality. The league faces pressure to implement meaningful changes rather than simply acknowledging complaints without action.
this is a league-wide issue?
well, I've seen quite a few dust-ups in the league so far, so I think it's a league-wide issue. I mean, bad officiating is bad officiating.
And then what did you make of Sophie Cunningham's flagrant foul on JC towards the end?
It was a flagrant foul.
Do you think it's like defending Caitlin or defending the team, or how do you view just how it opened?
I view it as a flagrant foul.
I'll ask about the game too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys came for basketball.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
talk
seriously.
about basketball.
Yeah.
Come on now.
This incident serves as another example of how officiating inconsistencies can overshadow athletic performances and create unnecessary drama that detracts from the sport's competitive aspects. The focus today centers on Stephanie White's handling of a controversial situation involving officiating concerns. While White's coaching decisions have faced scrutiny throughout various close contests where outcomes haven't favored her team, her communication skills and media presence have consistently stood out as strengths. Her approach to press conferences and public statements has been notably professional and articulate.
That you guys as an organization are doing, I mean, you know, you're speaking out at this point, but anything more that you are doing or you hope to do to engage in the league and addressing these issues with the officiating that you've been very vocal with?
Yeah, I mean, I think every year when we have our our league meetings in the fall and in the spring, we say the same thing over and over and over. And nothing has changed. So, you know, I'm not sure outside of continuing to submit clips, continuing to talk about it. Like, look, they're
During recent media interactions, White demonstrated what many consider the ideal response to difficult circumstances. Her management of the situation earned widespread recognition for being both appropriate and effective. The way she navigated the challenging questions showed considerable skill in media relations. The incident began when White was questioned about technical fouls and officiating decisions during a heated matchup. Rather than allowing Caitlin Clark to field questions about referee calls, White immediately intervened, taking control of all official-related inquiries. This approach marked a significant departure from previous coaching strategies where Clark was left to address referee controversies directly. White's decision to shield her player from such discussions represents proper coaching protocol.
What do you think of just how you all were able to?
So as you can see, man, Caitlin a little aggravated about everything, especially them not asking more questions after the flagrant questions. But yeah, Stephanie White is 100% right. She's 100% right. You know, you can't have the players, the coaches, you can't have these things getting better, but the refs are still in the same spot. You have to figure that out, man.
When pressed about the technical foul explanation, White revealed there had been no clarification provided by the officials. Her assessment suggested that referees appeared hesitant to make ejections, instead opting to distribute technical fouls to multiple players as a crowd control measure. This strategy, according to White, stemmed from officials losing command of the game's intensity.
Their job is hard. Their job is hard. Their job is hard, right? Their job is hard. You know, the game has changed so much. Players are faster, they're better, they're bigger, they're stronger. You know, they're as good as they've ever been. They're as athletic as they've ever been. The game is fast now. Things are happening quickly. Everybody's getting better, except the officials.
And this is the best thing about it. Hype up the
White emphasized that problematic officiating patterns had persisted throughout the entire season, not just during this particular contest. Her explanation highlighted how competitive elite athletes naturally respond when physical play is permitted to escalate without proper oversight. She noted that when officials allow aggressive contact and fail to maintain game control, players will inevitably protect their teammates and compete with increased intensity. The tension became apparent early in the game, with White observing escalating conflicts between players from the opening quarter. The confrontation between JC Sheldon and Caitlin Clark had been building since the game's start, making the eventual altercation predictable to those monitoring the situation closely.
Promo is still in the same spot. This is not going to make your league better. This is not going to make people want to watch. Not only does the players have to be good, not only does the coaches have to be good, but the refs, they have to be good. It has to be a great overall product. Now, like I stated before, nobody's perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. Even people come at Stephanie White for some of her decisions. But I still feel like she's a good coach. And I feel like there's other good coaches out there that
White's critique of officiating proved particularly pointed, potentially representing the most severe criticism directed at referees all season. Her statement surpassed previous controversial comments, including those made by Kelsey Plum regarding league organizational issues. When asked about additional measures beyond public statements to address officiating concerns, White referenced ongoing discussions during league meetings held twice yearly. Despite repeated conversations about these issues, no meaningful changes have materialized. The options remain limited to submitting video evidence and continuing public discourse about the problems.
league. Don't go out there and call out the league, which is the worst thing you can do, which is what the likes of myself will do, calling out the league, because the league don't seem to care about it. The league don't seem to care. But you've now basically hyping up the league, hyping up the players, hyping up everything, and then just go, everything's great, other than you guys. Other than you guys, which is the most damning description of it all.
So we got to find a way to remedy it. I mean, you've heard every coach talk about it, so I don't know what the
White acknowledged the difficulty of officiating while making a crucial distinction. She praised the evolution of players who have become faster, stronger, more skilled, and more athletic than ever before. The game's pace has accelerated dramatically, with split-second decisions becoming increasingly common. However, she pointedly noted that while every other aspect of the league has improved, officiating standards have remained stagnant. This assessment proved particularly effective because it elevated the league and its athletes while isolating officiating as the sole area lacking progress. Rather than criticizing the organization broadly, White's approach highlighted the contrast between excellent player development and adequate referee performance.
Which is the short end of the stick, but at the end of the day, man, they have to be better. That's what we're looking for, better. You don't have to be perfect. Be better, all right? Aim for perfection, but be better. That's all we're asking for, man. It was so many hacks and crazy fouls going on throughout the game. Stephanie is right, man. You even had a moment where Sanaya Rivers was riding on Kelsey Mitchell's back. I mean, I was ready to turn on some Genuine pony, right?
The incident that sparked this controversy involved Clark being subjected to aggressive contact, including being clawed near the eye during play. While attempting to distance herself from the confrontation and holding her injured eye, Clark was body-checked by J.C. Sheldon. When Clark responded by pushing away from the contact, she received a technical foul. This sequence of events placed White in an impossible position as a coach. The escalation continued as Clark walked away from the initial contact, still holding her eye, only to be blindsided by an opposing player. All of this aggressive behavior was permitted by officials without consequence, making further escalation inevitable.
The answer is
And Caitlin Clark is just staring, and she's right to. She's right to. At this stage, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what is gonna happen at this stage. Like it's just an embarrassment for the league. It's actually embarrassing. As a fan of sport, like the way the league has gone, it is embarrassing.
Whether through coaching intervention, player protection from media scrutiny, or even strategic decisions about player participation, something must change. The current situation cannot continue without addressing the fundamental officiating problems that have created this environment. The league faces an embarrassing situation that requires immediate attention. Until meaningful changes occur in officiating standards and consistency, similar incidents will likely continue to plague games and overshadow the athletic achievements of the players.